Welcome back to the Takeout. I want to show you some pictures of the East Wing of the White House because they show something that you're not used to seeing. Do we have those control room? Maybe not, maybe yes, maybe no. Oh, they're working on it. Well, never mind. I want to bring in our reporter panel. Sophia Cai, White House reporter for Politico. Riley Rogerson, reporter for NOTUS. Oh, there they are. Okay. Yeah, so that's what's left currently of the East Wing because it's being demolished. Why? To make room for a very large and separate ballroom being constructed with private donations made to President Trump for that purpose. Sophia, you cover the White House. That looks pretty heavy.
This is, I mean, look, this is the thing.
There are those who say that Trump is bringing a wrecking ball to certain institutional norms. Well, whether that's true or not, there's definitely a wrecking ball at the East Room.
Well, look, this is the thing that makes Trump tick. He works on these plans. It's the thing that gives him a little bit of distraction, a bit of levity in between, you know, his other ambitions to end wars, whatever else he's working on. But at the end of the day, he likes to DJ, he likes to host. So that's just like the soft spot, the thing that he scratches, the itch that he scratches is to bring a new ballroom, raise the money, and it's supposed to hold 999 people.
Right. That's a heck of an itch to scratch right there in the East Room. I mean, just knocking it all the way down.
Well, Trump is a very visual person. That's been well documented.
Fact check, true. Yes. Yes, indeed.
Right.
So those are the visuals. So we had over the weekend, I'm sure you read about it, you might have even covered it one level or another, No Kings protests, 5 million to 7 million is the estimate. That's a pretty fair range, it seems to me. And the president said on Air Force One, I'm not a king. We played that sound earlier. But, Sophia, you have a piece in Politico that we do have a king. The king of the shutdown.
The king of the shutdown is Russ Vought, director of OMB.
Office of Management and Budget.
Office of Management and Budget. He has, even during a shutdown, more than 400 people working for him. People don't know this, but OMB...
Not furloughed. They're in there doing
They're in there.
The
They're working full-time. And it's because OMB is the biggest office of the president. And these are policy-focused experts whose job it is to go through the federal budget line by line by line and bring to the table programs to cut for Russ Vought.
And employees to furlough indefinitely, to essentially lay off in this power vacuum, which the OMB says it can fill during a government shutdown. And there's a legal dispute about that, but they're filling it.
OMB is arguing that, you know, the agencies are making the RIF decisions, the decisions to
reductions in force. That's what a RIF is.
Reductions in force, yes, to fire people permanently. But, you know, of course, we know that OMB and OPM, Office of Personnel Management, they're both very involved in these decisions. And yeah, that's Russ Vaught's army that he's built up.
And he enjoys it.
Yes, he's told a group of reporters over breakfast, he says the favorite part of his job is that no detail is too small for Trump. And when he says that, he really means no detail is too small for Russ Vought, who has been empowered by President Trump to make these cuts.
Riley, you also have reporting about Rand Paul. We played some sound from him earlier today, and he's been among many senators, not many, but at a vocal few, saying what's going on in South America doesn't have evidence. There has been no declaration of war, and we're in very, if you allow me to mangle a metaphor, choppy legal waters militarily.
Right. He has been incredibly outspoken, and it's not the only issue that Rand Paul has pushed back on the Trump administration on. We're seeing he's the lone Senate Republican who's voted against this Republican-led short-term bill to end the government shutdown 10 times. So it's been really interesting to see him navigate this relationship with the Trump administration. And my colleague spoke with Rand Paul last week, and he said, I think the relationship is actually not terrible. I think, you know, we golf. He posted on Truth Social that my wife is beautiful. And then 48 hours later, Trump posted on a different Truth Social.
Just when you think everything is okay.
Right, calling him a sick wacko. So I think that really shows the perils, the political perils for Republicans who are pushing back on the Trump administration. It's reaching even Rand Paul.
Wading ever deeper into my tortured metaphor, are these waters navigable? I mean, Can Rand Paul figure out a way to deal with the White House while still doing what he wants to do?
Right. I think that's going to be the question before him. What we have seen is Congressman Thomas Massie, also from Kentucky, has been the member of the House who's really pushed back on the Trump administration. And he is staring down a Trump-backed primary challenger. He's done that before and he's won. This time, it appears the Trump administration is taking it extremely seriously. Again, Rand Paul is not up until 2028. He hasn't ruled out a presidential run.
Right.
So we'll see. There's less levers that the Trump administration can potentially pull against him.
There's a fine morning show called CBS Mornings. Jean-Pierre was on this morning and talked about President Biden, what she witnessed, what was or was not working. Listen.
When we talk about the mental acuity, and again, I take this very, very seriously. Yeah. I never saw anyone who wasn't there. I saw someone who was always engaged. I saw someone who understood policy, pushed us on the policy, and also understood history.
So, no problems there. Sophia?
This is like a continuing storyline of Democrats trying to figure out what their party stands for.
And those who are very close to President Biden and trying to account for what did or didn't happen. Because there are lots of questions on the minds, not just of reporters and historians, but Democratic voters themselves.
Look, I think you also have to look at, like, what did 4 years look like? As reporters, we also were very close to Biden. And we saw, you know, in 2021, 2022, he would come and talk to us late night in the choppers when he would land on the South Lawn and walk over from a helicopter. And he'd say, hey, you guys are still out very late. And he would really engage. But, you know, that began to really taper off the last couple of years. It really began to taper off. So, you know, the question is, what did people who, you know, served with him in the White House see? Because we saw that.
Riley, we give you 30 seconds.
Right, and I think that this conversation is probably the number one thing that Democrats in Congress would like to avoid. And it's interesting that this continues to come up, continues to be a real challenge for them to respond to. Yeah, it's something they would prefer to avoid, but history and the mindset of the Democratic Party as it approaches the midterms and the 2028 election are not going to let them, even though they very well might. Sophia Cai, Riley Rogerson, thank you. Happy Monday, everyone.